Welcome to our last part, closing remarks of the video titled Sovereign Debt $62.3 trillion, a ticking time bomb. Now, first of all, in the closing remarks, I would like to thank you, Janus Henderson, a very well known hedge fund who provided the report in the public domain on their website, and because of the research we got lot of data which, by the way, is impossible as far as the other sources are concerned. And at the same point of time, the closing remarks are like, according to the same report, by 2025, which is precisely 3 years from now, as we speak, in fact, lesser than 3 years from now, the total sovereign debt would be near about 80 trillion US dollars. You heard me very right, which is 80 trillion US dollars. Whether the global economies would be able to pay this debt, that in itself is a very big question. Because in this closing remarks, I would like to bring a very important facts which unfortunately not covered in this report. I understand because this report is dated April 2021, and the events which I wanted to talk in the closing remarks is dated 2022. So I understand. As we speak, the Asian economies are in huge debt problem. Today, when I was evaluating the data, and of course I am planning a detailed video, according to International Monetary Fund, IMF, in year 2020, India debt to GDP ratio is near about I would say 89%, while in 2019 it was near about 76%, and in 2022 projected is around 91%, which means slowly and eventually, I repeat, slowly and eventually, India is heading towards 100% debt to GDP ratio. And I'm pretty sure that by 2025, this would be more than 110 or somewhere closer to 120%. Because after every year, which is known as the budget, Indian government is raising a huge quantity of money. And this money is piling up, so would be the interest cost. Today, when I was reviewing the position of Sri Lanka, they secured a credit line of near about $1 billion from India. Now, the surprising fact is, how come India, who is already having a huge tax structure, who is having a huge debt in the books, which includes, by the way, debt from international institution, a country who is paying a huge money in the form of interest payments, how come this country can able to deliver $1 billion credit line to Sri Lanka? That in itself is a very big question. But anyways, that is completely separate because, you know, And more importantly, according to the public information, which is on the Google, Sri Lankan government is also in talks with International Monetary Fund and Chinese government regarding the possible funding to avert the debt crash. Now, which means that as we speak, Sri Lankan government do not have the money to pay the debt. And this is the reason that even after securing $1 billion credit line from India, they are still looking for money from International Monetary Fund and probably Chinese government, who, by the way, already lent it to Sri Lanka. It's a kind of refinancing, and refinancing would be at a much higher cost. It's a common sense. The situation is not different when it comes to Dubai, it comes to Maldives, it comes to Mauritius, and many countries of the globe, including Singapore. The debt is slowly piling up. Slowly piling up. And many natural disasters are on the way. Let me be very confirmed to you. I would like to summarize further with this, a report by Janus Henderson, and specifically talking page number and 16 rather. According to this report, half each country bond must be refinanced by this date. I repeat, half each country bonds must be refinanced by each date. Now, which means that according to the information provided by this report, China, April 2025, Germany, October 2025, Spain, October 2026, France, April 2027, United States, March 2025, Italy, August 2025, Japan, October 2025, Australia 2027, Switzerland June 2028. Which means if I go with the page number 16 of this report, it clearly suggests that China, Germany, Spain, France, United States, Italy, Japan, Australia, Switzerland. It clearly states that. And it also states that the three top debt nations of the globe. Now, by debt nations, I mean three top nations who holding the highest debt, which includes China, United States, and Japan. They need to refinance 50%, 50% of their bonds by 2025. Now, which in itself is a sheer example that till what extent a huge debt default is on the way. And when I speak about debt default, I mean a huge debt bubble is on the way. And the very surprising fact is that no one is talking about that bubble. No one is talking about that bubble. Guys, as we speak, Russia-Ukraine war is already entering into the murkier phase. By murkier phase, I means the blood phase. According to the public information, Russia is using the supersonic and the advanced weapons, and Russia is very clear on his part that they want Ukraine. But I'm not talking about war in my concluding remarks. What I'm talking about is the fixed income impact on Russia. And what the hell is the fixed income impact is that Russia can default at any given point of time. And it is not the Russia. Very soon you will see a huge mess is on the cards. And this debt bubble is ballooning at a much faster pace. Now, when I speak about United States, of course, I would be deliberating this more in detail very soon. United States, according to this report, by end of 2020, they were having a debt of 19.6 trillion. And by 2022, since I track United States daily on financial terminals and on the public sources, on the various research platforms, on the Google, they are holding a debt of near about 31.5 trillion US dollars. Now, which means that by end of 2020, you was having 19.6 trillion. And now you are having 31.5 trillion, which means only in 2 years. And by the way, the second year not yet completed. 2022, only 3 months completed. You added near about 11 trillion worth of debt. You added near about 11 trillion worth of debt. Now assume if in 1 year and 3 months, if in 1 year and 3 months, you added 11 trillion, now by 2025, United States debt would be more than 50 trillion. Probably if I go with the same statistics, then it would be over 60 trillion. And what would be the interest cost? I can't even explain. And what is the stupidity Federal Reserve is conducting? They are hiking the rates, which means you are spilling the oil in the fire. So rather than cooling the fire, you are increasing the fire. To conclude, we are heading towards a big debt crash. And this debt crash would come very soon. The biggest thing which the world can save, I would say, is to be very protective. Because what I see is that this debt crash will leave no country. Now, whether this is a big G3 countries or probably the Asian economies. Because if I go with this report, which is provided by Janus Henderson, one of the leading hedge funds and the fixed income players of the globe, by 2025, the 3 top economies, which includes United States, Japan and China, at least 50% of the country bonds must be refinanced. And that is not a conducive information, at least I can say. Now this is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You know my personal number, which is +91 9899 242 978. Alternatively, you know our back office, which is +91 9818 485 155. more interesting videos on the way. Have a great time ahead.